What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The David Lopez Show, presented by Passion Park ENT. You know what it is. I hope you all had a good weekends. I hope you were productive. I hope you enjoyed yourself. You got to have some fun time, spend time with some people you care about, all that good jazz. I know that I had a pretty busy week. A lot of work involved in there, and then some hanging out, some getting some stuff done. You know, all that. I know I mentioned this the past couple of weeks, but I'm in the process of doing some moving from place to place. So this office is still intact because it's the last thing I'm holding on to because I want to record this podcast in here a couple more times before I get out of this office. But feeling a little bit emotional about getting to a new office here. But it'll be exciting. So soon you'll see a new set. A new set, yes, that's what I call a set. A new set for the podcast pretty soon here when we get that all organized. And as I'm going through that whole process, I really am going to try to keep on track. Well, I am going to keep on track. We're going to get an episode out every week no matter what. In all honesty, I don't know if they're all going to be video episodes. Maybe some of them will just be audio, depending on, if I have everything moved where I need to, location-wise and stuff. But I'm going to do my best to stay on track with this. We're going to get into another fun solo episode, mostly sports, but there's going to be a top 10 list I'm going to do up top. Today's top 10 movies of the decade with a big honorable mention list because it was hard to make this list. Last week I did the top 10 albums. These are my top 10 lists, by the way. I know, obviously, anybody who writes a list is their list, but what I mean is it's not like it's not me writing movie reviews and saying which one is literally the better movie, better quality, all that stuff. This isn't that. This is just my top 10 list, movies that I enjoyed or albums that I enjoyed or just, art that I like to consume. So that's what this is. And then I think next week I'm going to do top 10 shows of the decade or series or however you want to call that. So I am excited for that. So we'll get into that. Up top, I'm going to do a little housekeeping as I usually do. I'm not going to do the affiliates, but if you want to go to passionparkent.com, and you click the More tab, you'll see a bunch of places you can shop through. Diamond CBD is the one I talk about a lot. They're an awesome CBD company. Splice, which is a music creator site. And there's a couple other on there. If you shop through any of those banners and you buy anything, you're directly supporting us, so that would be greatly appreciated. Also on passionparkent.com is our merch store. So if you click store, you can buy any of our clothes. My first original album is on there, Preacher's Son, which is the only album that I made physical copies of. So that's on there. You can get that. And then just streaming our music or watching any of our videos would be great. That's a really good way to support. Make sure you subscribe on any platform that you might be consuming our content. Particularly, you know what I was gonna say? So YouTube, our YouTube channel. I think the podcast probably gets. It's weird. Some get more listens than views. Some get more views than listens. But the YouTube channel, I'm really happy because. YouTube did this thing where now they're combining all the music channels because, for my artists out there, a lot when you upload a music to a distributor, they'll send it out to YouTube, and a lot of times they end up making this own channel that has your music on it, right? So for a long time, I had like 5 different channels that have different music on it, and then I have my original channel, and then like all this other shit. So now they combined them all. So I got 800 more subscribers right away, right off top, and that shit was amazing because I had been. For such a long time, I was trying to break this 100 subscriber threshold so I could change the URL of my YouTube. And I couldn't. I was like so close. And then finally this music thing happens and I just break it. So now if you go to youtube.com/David Lopez Passion Park, that is the website. All you got to go to youtube.com/David Lopez Passion Park and you'll be on our YouTube channel. And so I'm happy about that. So shout out to YouTube for racking that up. I think we're almost we're like 850 subscribers now. Let's get to 1,000. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers. That would be amazing. When you say that, like when I say that now out loud, it's funny because like you want to keep pushing new goals, and you're never satisfied really. But like just me saying get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube that wasn't a realistic thought a year ago or whatever it is. So shout out to to YouTube for making that change. It's really helped a lot. And that being said, like, now that I have all the subscribers, like when I upload the podcast, like, they can see that shit too. So like, let's hope that translates to more views and listens and support. So that's been really cool. So passionparkent.com for a lot of that stuff. Now for my career specifically, I'm going to make a couple announcements here. So go to www.thedavidlopez.com. Then you're going to get my newest music, show dates, all that stuff, my bio, anything like that. But what I got to announce, so I announced last week that Call Me, my new single for December, comes out December 20th. The pre-save link is live. It's on my website if you go to the homepage. I've been getting some pretty good, some feedback on that, so I appreciate that. I'm a huge fan of that song. I think that's going to be a hit. I really, really enjoy it. So make sure you go pre-save that. My Plane, my last single from that last month, is out now. It's doing pretty well, so I appreciate everybody who's been listening. But I got some announcements on the show side of things, so I'm excited. This just came together this week, really. Excuse me. So I have 2 show dates to announce. I'm going to post them on the website today. So I don't know why. I just wanted to give you a long delay pause. So you're like, oh my God, is he performing at Madison Square Garden or Staples Center? Where is he performing? What is he going to announce? No, nothing crazy like that, but I am going to hit the road, which I'm pretty excited about. So Friday, January 3rd, I will be in Des Moines, Iowa, at Vaudeville Muse. So for any of my Iowa peeps out there, please, hit me up if you're interested. Come out. It's gonna be. I got like a 15 to 20 minute set. It's at a showcase actually. I haven't been doing many of these showcases. I've been trying to keep individual small rooms as I've mentioned before. But once in a while, it's good to do these things, especially when you're hitting the road, because there's gonna be some bodies there, some people there to hear the music. So I want to make sure that I get this this new stuff out. So I had an artist hit me up on Instagram. Shout out to Subject Music. And then we started chopping it up and talking, and he got me on the lineup, so I'm going to be on the lineup for Friday, January 3rd in Des Moines, Iowa at Vaudeville Muse. So I want to say shout out to all of them. My man Rob Reese, who's been on this show before, he was on one of the first, I want to say the 12th episode of this podcast, something like that. Super talented artist. He's also on the show, so I'm excited to get to do a show with my man there. So that's exciting. And then the next day, so I got a lot of traveling to do. I'm probably going to be tired. The next day, January 4th, I have a daytime show. The set, I believe, is at 3 to 4, here in Chicago, in Lincoln Park. The location and details are kind of TBA. It's an interesting event. I don't want to give away too many details, but it's kind of there's a talk and a meet and greet, and it's a more mingling type event. But then me and Joe, my guitar player Joe Bianco, we're gonna play a set, keep the people grooving. So that's gonna be cool. So that's January 4th. So Saturday, January 4th, it's a daytime show here in Chicago. I will get more details about that, more info about tickets, more info about if you want to just attend my set, rather than just the whole meet and greet and the whole Q&A and stuff like that. So I'm going to figure out all that stuff, and I'm going to get that info out. But for now, I'm just really excited to have a couple show dates right to start off 2020. It's a smooth way to start it off. So January 3rd in Des Moines, January 4th in Chicago, and then any new show dates I will be announcing. Go to www.thedavidlopez.com to find out all this good jazz. Make sure you pre-save Call Me, because that joint is a hit, and I need that shit to blow up. You know what I'm saying? All right. That's pretty good. I think we got it. All right, guys, let's start the show. So as I had mentioned up top, we're going to do a top 10 list. These have been fun putting together. To be completely honest, I have to look up and remember what years some of these are from and stuff like that. I mean, it's just a decade, 10 years. When I'm like 30, so that's a third of my life. It's like, it's hard to, that's kind of a lot. That's 33%. I can't even, gain. I don't have that good of a memory. I don't gain all this shit. So, I have a top 10 list. This is my top 10. It was really hard for me. So I literally have a top 10 and a top 10 honorable mention list, which is I know that seems cheesy, but it is what it is. I'm going to read off both for you. Whatever. Maybe you could relive. Maybe it'll give you inspiration to go watch some of these movies. I know I've been thinking about rewatching some of these because of that. So let's get it going. Just like I did with the albums last week, no particular order here. Just shit that I like. So let's start with the top 10. The top 10 that I got. Or should I do the honorable mention first? No, let's do the top 10 first. All right. So I'm gonna start. Yeah, I'm going to start with the one that honestly could be number one. It's just hard because it's recency bias. Because it's very recent, but it might be my number one. It's just such a fucking good movie. I loved it so much. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That came out this year. Brad Pitt, Leo DiCaprio, Quentin Tarantino movie. If you haven't seen it, just see it. I don't really know what else to say. It's so good. It's the build-ups, just the filmmaking of Tarantino is amazing, but just how he builds everything up. The acting in it is just amazing. Leo is one of the best actors might be the best actor of our generation. He's just so good. And then Brad Pitt is phenomenal. I just really love that movie. It was, I mean, it was really emotional at times, like the way they did things, but then also like the character development in Leo's character, like the background into it, there's emotion to it, but it is also hilarious. Just a lot of the choices. It was just, I just really like that movie. All right, moving on. This is most definitely on my list. I don't have, like I said, there's no order to it, but it could be up top. Maybe number 2, Bridesmaids. So it was on TV the other day. I've watched this movie so many times. I've seen it on planes, on bus rides. It's so fucking funny. Bridesmaids never disappoints for me. I love that movie. So we were watching the other when it was on the other day. It was the scene where they're trying on the wedding dresses and then they all get explosive diarrhea or food poisoning. That's so funny. She's just shitting in the wedding dress in the street. It's like it's happening. That's so good. All right. And we're keeping it going, and we're going to keep it with another Leo DiCaprio film. This is just a fun-ass movie. Jonah Hill asking him if he wants to just casually do crack. It's so good. Wolf of Wall Street, baby. Just a really entertaining movie. And then, I mean, then to find out, the story about Jordan Belfort, I believe it is his name, if I remember correctly, is mostly entirely true. A lot of it was embellished, but, it's pretty much true. It's crazy. That movie also just so fun. Like, it was intense. I mean, the scenes where he's giving a lot of speeches to his company and stuff. It's just or the scene with Matthew McConaughey where he's like, whoo, whoo. I love that shit. All right, let's keep it going. This movie might have been my favorite movie of the year it came out. I can't remember. It was either 2015 or 2016, I want to say. But Mad Max. Not a lot of dialogue. Not dialogue heavy at all. Mostly visually heavy. Just visually stunning is what I meant to say. Excuse me. I had to take a sip of water. That movie, I remember, won like all of the visual Oscars. Just like won all these crazy awards. I was so entertained by that movie. I'm not normally into sci-fi or thrillers like that. I mean, I am to a certain extent, but those aren't like my go-to. But I just really loved Mad Max. I've never even seen the first one from the 80s, but I just thought it was so good. So Mad Max is definitely on there. And then, man, I am noticing now as I'm reading through this list, I just really love Leo DiCaprio. Because I got 2 more Leos on here. But the first one I'm going to talk about, I mean, I thought this came out in 2009. Turns out when I looked it up, it came out in 2010. So this is in this decade. Inception. To this day, I can watch that movie and just be like mind fucked real quick. Just like, wait a second, he's in that dream, and then that dream, and then wait a second. And just like a little side personal note, I've seen that movie plenty of times, but it's one of the first movies that my now wife, at the time we weren't dating, we met in college, one of the first movies that we watched when we were like, kicking it, hanging out and stuff. So shout out to you, girl. You know what I'm talking about. So Inception is in my personal history of that, but also just a phenomenal fucking movie. I love that shit. All right, this next movie, I felt somewhat of a need to possibly, include some sort of like cartoon superhero type movies because there's been so many over this decade. I mean, you could just go through the whole Avengers series, all of that. And I'll talk about some of those movies, but the one that I did include in the top 10 list and not the honorable mention, the one that I had to make, is not a Marvel movie, but it's Logan. The Wolverine movie, Hugh Jackman. I saw it with my dad when it came out in the theaters, and I love it. I really like that movie. It'll come on HBO, and I'll turn it on. Because, I mean, of course, it's a superhero movie, and it's a character movie. Hugh Jackman's great as Wolverine. And then his daughter in the movie, she's so good. But it's like, there's a lot of emotional depth to it. Yeah, it's just done so well. I really liked Logan. Really, really liked Logan. So, Logan's on the list. Moving down, this movie is about bank robbers from Boston. You guys probably already guessed it. If you didn't, I remember watching this a lot on our team bus when I was in college. When we were on the basketball team, we watched this like several times. I feel like on the team bus, which seems intense, but or maybe it was just like an airplane when I was flying. I don't know. I've seen this movie a handful of times, but it's really good. The Town, Ben Affleck. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe didn't win Oscars. Maybe it's not like whatever. But it's a really good movie, really thrilling. And I also love that fucking Boston East Coast accent. Fucking intense bank robbers, wicked ass them. That's so disrespectful. I'm sorry, guys. But The Town, yeah, I really enjoyed that movie. All right, I got 3 more on the top 10 list. My final of my Leo DiCaprio flicks. This one I wasn't so sure to put on, but I just loved this movie. I haven't seen it as much, but I just remember being so mind blown by it the first time I saw it, and I've seen it a couple times since. Shutter Island. Also, I didn't realize this was 2010 or 2011. I didn't realize this was this decade, but it is. Shutter Island is a mind fuck of a movie. The ending, every time I'm like, wait, I have to like rethink it and like try to figure out why it is what it is. Like it's confusing. But it's really good. Shutter Island is one of those movies that drives you insane thinking about what is what and all what is real, what isn't. And Leo, another great performance by Leo. That dude's just amazing. All right, I got two more. This next one is kind of freaky because a lot of what's going on in it seemed to be coming to life nowadays. It's also a movie that we studied in my writing for film class in Second City. Excuse me, I think I might have part of the script actually somewhere because of cool thing about those kind of classes, they'll give you like parts of scripts from a lot of these like famous stuff. Ex Machina, that movie about this scientist who develops this artificial intelligence. It's essentially a movie about an AI creature that comes so far to life, and there's just some crazy twists and turns, and at the end, I mean, spoiler alert, you should go see it, but the end is a crazy twist where go see it. You should see it at the crib probably, but there's a twist where it's like, damn, is this what's gonna happen with AI? Are they gonna make these choices to us? Oh fuck! Really entertaining movie, Ex Machina. I kind of want to watch it again. The movie's so good. And then finally, this is the last movie on my top 10 list, but also it was between two. It's a comedy. It was between two. The other one made the honorable mention. This one I put on the top 10 list. I had to bump back and forth. This is another one that we watched a lot on our team bus in college, so there's just some significant memories from that because there's, the nostalgia of watching it with your teammates and laughing. Man, I just think this movie is so fucking underrated. The Other Guys, Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg. It is, per minute, the laughs in that movie. I don't know. I laughed so fucking much in that movie. So I'm a huge fan of that movie. Like I said, this is my top 10 list, so I'm not saying it's a critically acclaimed, phenomenal flick. What I'm saying is I laughed my ass off in this movie, and I could watch it again and crack up. So I'm going to put that on there for now. Well, not for now. That is just it's the list. It's official. But let's really briefly go through the honorable mentions. Because these ones have to be said, in my opinion. The one that I said could have replaced The Other Guys because I wanted to put one more comedy that I just loved, Wanderlust. Wanderlust with Jennifer Aniston. That movie's hilarious. Also, just like I don't know, it's cool because like my mom loved that movie. Like my family loved that movie. We watched it at the crib at my parents' house a lot. It's got some it's got some meta meanings and shit, and they talk about moving from the city to the wanderlust environment. But that movie's hilarious, so I really like that. And then I'm gonna go up this. I'm gonna go pretty quickly here since we went through the top 10. Social Network, the Facebook movie about Mark Zuckerberg. That movie was great. That definitely could have been on the list. I really have seen that movie a bunch of times. Really good. Whiplash. If you remember, the movie was nominated. I don't know if it won or not, but it was nominated for an Oscar a couple of years ago about the drummer and his band coach. Really intense. La La Land with Gosling and Emma Stone. It's a musical, so it's different, but I really enjoyed it at the time. Fruitvale Station, Michael B. Jordan. True story about man, I can't stop burping. Sorry. True story about a tragedy on the West Coast, out in the Bay Area. That happened to a young man. Spider-Man Homecoming. So this is one of the... Actually, there's 3 in a row I'm going to talk about comic book movies real quick that I felt like could have made the list. It just feels like in the decades felt like they were ruled by comic books and Marvel and superhero movies. Spider-Man Homecoming, though, was one of my favorites as it, to me, played more as a comedy. I remember saw that with my dad as well. And I just remember laughing a lot through it. So I thought that was good. I put Avengers the original. This could kind of be any of them, really. I just felt like that was the most significant. It was a cultural landmark for this decade, really. I mean, Avengers, the first one. I mean, any of them you could have really put to me. It was just it's a timestamp. It's a significant moment, which is why I didn't put it in the top 10 because I couldn't really pick one exact moment. It was just more like that needs to be mentioned. Deadpool, because in this decade with all these, comic book movies and all this stuff, we got a dirty R-rated superhero, and I love that shit. I needed that shit. So that, and then finally, this is the end. what's a movie list without Seth Rogen on there? I felt like I needed that, and that was because I mean, Pineapple Express, Superbad, Knocked Up. Those were all in the previous decade, and like they were starting towards the end of it, like '09, I think was Pineapple Express. I could have put Neighbors on here. I liked Neighbors a lot, but This Is the End. This Is the End is awesome. I mean, it has everybody that's funny in it, and the cast is great. I love like the first half of This Is the End. I don't love the second half or I'd say like the last third where it's all just the world blowing up and this giant monster with a huge wiener just going everywhere. Not my favorite parts of the movie, but still an entertaining movie nonetheless. So that had to be on there. That's my honorable mention list to go with that. So I think that's about how many? Well, let's see here. 1, 2, 3. So I had 19 total because there was 9 on the honorable mention, 10 on the top 10 list. Obviously, there should be 10 on the top 10. Although last week I did technically 11 on that top 10 list. All right, well, that's my list. I hope you guys can relate or enjoy any of that or, all that jazz. Yeah, let's do it. Let's move on, baby. All right. We are going to get into some sports stuff. Nothing too crazy here. The only thing I briefly want to mention basketball-wise, I'm really not going to talk about the NBA. I don't really have much to say. Except I guess there's 2 things I'll say. First, the Jabari Particle. Oh my God, that was great. Jabari Parker quote that came out this week where he says Chicago is just not a destination. He's from Chicago. D Rose from Chicago. All these guys. Chicago's not a destination. What would be cool is if all the guys from Chicago could make their own team. That's what we would like to do. We all want to play in the city, but that's just not how businesses work. Essentially, that's how I paraphrased it. Interesting because he's just saying something that we all know. Gar Foreman and John Paxson, I just still have to get the fuck out of there. The Bulls got a win last night, which was nice, but against the Hawks, whatever. But their attendance is really declining, and they've always been a top 3 attendance, top 3 in attendance pretty much in the NBA. They've always been like up there. They've never had to worry about ticket sales and that income coming in. But of late, there's been twice in the past like 2 weeks that they've announced at the game like the attendance was like 15,000, which is way lower than their normal. And most people there are saying there wasn't really 15,000 there. That's what they paid for attendance. Attendance dropping, money dropping, numbers don't lie. Jerry Reinsdorf might listen to that. Maybe Paxson and Foreman will, something will happen there. That's the hope because we need some drastic moves to happen here. Jim Boylan obviously isn't the answer at coach, so that's a whole nother thing. I think there's some pieces the Bulls got. But going into the attendance thing with the Bulls is interesting because obviously they don't have a great team to put on the court right now, so that affects it. But the NBA numbers wise is down in general, like as far as viewership on TV and games is just down, and it's really interesting because it also feels like the NBA is at an all-time high with popularity. If you go on Twitter, any social medias or like in the offseason when all the players are moving teams to team, it just seems like the NBA is dominating a lot of news and there's so many superstars and people are talking about them all the time. But when it comes to game watching, people are watching less than they ever have. To me, it's not that complicated. I think it's more just like people are watching less than they have of really everything, except for the NFL, which is what's interesting. The NFL seems to be just staying the course with that. Maybe it's just because they have a day. Like Sundays is the day. It's NFL day. People watch. NBA, people just have shorter attention spans. People are trying to watch the highlights on their phones, or they're trying to watch the end of games. They're trying to just watch. Yeah, exactly. Like highlights, like SportsCenter top 10 highlights. I don't know the answer to it because I think the NBA is really popular. I don't know what they're going to do about the viewership thing. I think I know that they were talking about making a package where you could just tune into the last couple minutes of every game. I think that's a really interesting idea. That could, that's something that I'd be interested in. Like, if the game's close, tune into that. Whatever. I don't know how you're going to get it. I think people love the game, but getting them to watch a full game, people to watch a full anything for 2 hours is tough right now. So I don't know. I find that to be an interesting area that we're in right now in this day and age. And then on another basketball note, I want to mention college-wise just real briefly because I've touched on it. I think last week or a couple weeks ago was about college basketball parody. Because the only reason I want to touch on it is because Louisville was number 1 and they lost again, and they lost. So that is the there will be the fifth or 4 number ones have lost or 5 number ones. I can't remember. I believe it's a record for before January 1st. This all goes into what I was saying before. I feel just parity in college basketball is going to be at an all-time high because there are some teams that are sticking together, and then the superstars are not always going to be gluing. And to me, that balances a lot of it out. But maybe not for the tournament, but at least for early in the season, it's interesting. So college basketball is all over the place. I know that Illinois just took out Michigan last night. Michigan was ranked number 5. And during that game, holy shit, the Illinois power forward, I believe, I don't remember his name, he scores and, he goes to do a crazy punch through fist bump after he gets an and one. He's like, yeah, cheering. And he punched the ref right in the fucking top of his head. And we've seen things like this happen before. It was just kind of scary because, that dude was jacked and he just hit him full force, on the top of the head. The ref stayed on the court for a couple minutes and then left. So I don't know if he's concussed or what, but that was kind of a scary sight to behold. My brother retweeted this because it made me remember Carlos Boozer when he was on the Bulls, or no, maybe he was on the Jazz when he did it. I can't remember. I think he might have been on the Bulls. But there's a video of him doing something very similar, but rather than hit the ref on the head, when he scores, then he goes, yes, and he swings through and he punches the ref right in the nuts. I'm talking right scrab dab in the nuts. Scrab dab, that's not even, whatever. Right in the fucking nuts. Right, bow. And it's pretty hilarious. I feel bad for that ref, but it is pretty hilarious. All right, those are some quick basketball notes. We're going to get into some football talk right here. We got some picks to talk about. We got some cheating scandals to talk about, if you know what I'm saying. So let's get into it. So last week, I didn't have a bad week again. I had 9 right last week. Now, here's the thing. 9's okay. You're not going to win with 9 usually, but 9 out of, because there's 16 games. The 2 winners, well, there was 1 winner because we do a tiebreaker. That's why I picked that Monday night score. They got 14 out of 16 right. That is amazing. I think that's the high for the season. I can't even, in 2 in the same week? I'd be pissed if I was the other guy who got 14 and didn't win. And they're boys, too. The 2 dudes who got 14 is crazy. But all right, let's get into this shit. I do want to talk about that Patriots very interesting cheating scandal, but we'll briefly talk about it when we get to the Patriots spread here. I think the craziest thing about me doing this week's picks is that it's week 15. Holy shit, hockey. I can't even believe it. Isn't that just insane? We have 2 weeks left in the season. I'm sorry, 3 weeks. 15, 16, 17. We have 3 weeks left in the season. It just feels like it flew. I'm really happy that we've gotten to do an episode for as far as the picks go for every single week of the season except for week 1 when I was just getting my shit together, getting my shit on track. And the only week I won was week 1, the 1 week we didn't record. Is there a reason for that? Is there a reason for that, partner? I don't know. Let's hope not, and I don't really care because I like doing these episodes. So let's hope we get a victory. We got 3 weeks left to get a victory. This last victory would then put me above the above negative. It would put me in the positive for earnings for this year's league. So let's fucking do it, guys. Let's get this right. All right, the first one is obviously tonight's Thursday night game. I don't know, not a very intriguing matchup in my mind. The Ravens are playing the Jets. They're in Baltimore. Lamar Jackson has had a quad issue, I believe, and or was it quad? I don't know, but he's been out of practice. But he is gonna. Everybody says he's gonna play tonight. They're saying they're gonna take him cautious. They're gonna proceed with precaution in a certain regard. But he said he's good to play. This sucks because it's a 14.5 point spread. So the Ravens are supposed to beat the Jets by 15. We don't even know if Lamar Jackson is fully healthy, but he's going to play. I'm not taking that. 14.5, that's just too wide. I can't trust that. I got to go with the Jets. Please keep it within 15, guys. Don't make me look like an idiot. Actually, even if you don't keep it within 15, I don't really look like an idiot. Oh, man. All right. Let's see here. All right, so now we got Bears versus Packers, baby. You know what this is. This is Bears-Packers week. This is rivalry week. This is, in my household, as my wife is a Packers fan, we're not even speaking this week. That's not true. We're speaking. We're talking. We're fine. I like when the Bears play the Packers weeks. They're fun in our household. But this is a huge week. It's big for both teams. The Packers are ahead of the NFC North. They're 10-3, and the Bears are 7-6, trying to keep any playoff hopes alive. If the Bears are going to make the playoffs, they have to win out. and they need some help. They need the Rams to lose and the Vikings to lose. That being said, they're in Green Bay. I should briefly mention this, though. The Bears did win last week at the Cowboys. I know you guys know this. I mean, that's how they're 7-6. But Mitch played great. Mitch played really, really good. So there's no shit talking from me on Mitch here. I've done it in the past. I'm not going to shit talk about him right now. He's playing well. Let's really hope he can keep it up in Lambeau. This would be something to really see. I think if Mitch can come through with a very good performance in Lambeau. Now, obviously, you want them to get the win. But if they can't get the win, but it's a very good game and he plays really good in Lambeau, it's an optimistic feeling, I think. Because we want answers from him. We want to know, can he put this together? Can he put what he's been doing over the past 3-4 weeks together for a full season? Or is he just going to always be this guy who has, spur of the moment good and then spur of the moment terrible? So we'll see. But these last 3 weeks will be a big telltale sign for that. So the Packers are favored. They're in Lambeau. They're favored by 4.5, so they got to win by 5. What do you guys think I'm going to do? Just look me in the eyes. What do you think I'm going to do? Come on. You know the answer to that. Bears, baby. Bears all day. I think the Bears are going to win this game. I think they're super focused. I think they've been playing well. And even if they can't win, I could see it being, or even if they don't win, I see it being very close. I'm going to go Bears win this game. Let's just give a score. Why not? I'm going to go Bears win 24-17. Yeah, that's what I just fucking said it. I don't even know how I feel about that. But Bears 24-17. All right, moving on. Now, this is the other game I want to talk about. Patriots-Bengals. I don't really want to talk about the game. Who gives a shit? They're in Cincinnati. Bengals got to stay within 10 to not lose this. I mean, the Patriots are favored by 9.5. Right off the bat, I'll just say I'm taking the Patriots with the spread. They're going to win by more than 10. Not only because they're a way better team and Cincinnati sucks, but also because this scandal came out this week. And usually when scandals come out, they just go ahead and dominate. Belichick's like, watch me beat you 40-0. So the Patriots got caught cheating again. They were filming the sideline of the Cincinnati Bengals. According to them, they were working on a docuseries that they have where I can't remember the name of it, but they film like the background of, what goes on behind the scenes before games, Scott, like all that stuff. But they were apparently filming an extra 8 minutes of the Bengals sidelines. The Bengals authorities with the Bengals were like, yo, what are you doing? You got to delete that. You can't do that. Woody woo woo, all this stuff. And now the league is investigating, and they're going to figure out. Bill Belichick has basically admitted that, they were doing it, but he's saying they weren't trying to, gain any advantages. They were just, whatever. What I find interesting is I heard somebody talking about the actual documentary that they were filming for, right? There's a couple episodes out. Now, this is like kind of conspiracy-wise, but it's really interesting. There's a couple episodes out. The show covers some behind-the-scenes things of people going in, like, up top in the video booths and talking to, like, the other teams and scouting. What I heard somebody say, I wish I could remember who was saying it, was like, the show almost seems like it was made to cover up the exact thing that just happened. Like, the show was made, it could be, I mean, we know how much the Patriots have cheated and done these things. They got caught Spygate, and Deflategate, all that stuff. Like, the show seems like a plausible idea for somebody who also wants to film somebody's sideline and not get caught for filming somebody's sideline. Like, there are all these, like, the show, otherwise, like, the existence of the show is weird, according to, I haven't seen it, so I have to see it. If I was a better journalist and podcast host, I would have done more research and watched this. But I find it to be a very interesting possible conspiracy that they just made this show completely out of an idea that they can get some more intel from teams. They take anyone up. They'll take anything that can give them an advantage, they'll take it. And it's they're a dynasty, They definitely live by that philosophy of if you're not cheating, you're not trying to win, I think. So, I don't know. Bill Belichick and those Pats, huh? But I think they're going to beat the Bengals by, I said 10, but probably 21. Most likely. We got another fat spread here. I hate these fat spreads, but Broncos in Kansas City. Kansas City's got to beat them by 11. 10.5 point spread. The Broncos played amazingly well last week. They beat the Texans in a very surprising game for me, at least. I was way off on that. Locke, their young rookie quarterback, has been playing pretty well. So can Denver stay within 11 in Arrowhead Stadium? Man, I don't know, but I'm going to say yeah. I'm going to say they're going to keep it, within 11. I think the Chiefs will win this game, but I'm going to say I'm going to take my chances with the Broncos there. All right, let's go Buccaneers versus Lions. They're in Detroit. Tampa Bay's got to beat Detroit by 4. The Buccaneers are 6-7 right now. Neither of these teams have any playoff hopes, but I'm going to say the Buccaneers are going to win this game, and I think they're going to win this game by a touchdown. Jameis Winston will have 2 touchdown passes, 2 pick sixes. No, not 2 pick sixes, but he'll have an interception for sure. What's the stat that I was hearing on Bill Simmons say that Jameis Winston might become like the first 30-30 quarterback, 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions? It'd be amazing. All right. Texans, Titans. They are in Tennessee. Tennessee is favored to win by 2.5. They got to win by 3. This is a big game for the playoff picture for these two teams. The Titans are 8-5, and so are the Texans. Titans have been playing great. Tannehill's been playing great. Deshaun Watson and the Texans struggled last week against Denver, as I mentioned. But all of that being said, I think the Titans have been on a roll. Tannehill's been on a roll. I think the Texans are going to go into Tennessee and get a win. I think Deshaun Watson is going to be clutch, and I think they're going to get a win. And, maybe it's a field goal. So I need that to happen. So Texans, Titans. I got Texans over Titans. Another just barn burner, guys, between some non-playoff competitors. Dolphins, Giants. Holy, who gives a shit? They're in New York. Oh, man. The Giants got to win by 4. Eli played well last week. They almost beat the Eagles. The Eagles had to come back for an overtime victory to get that game, which says more about the Eagles than the Giants in my mind. But Eli played one really good half. I'm going to go with the Dolphins on this. I'm going to go with the Dolphins. It'll either be like a 2-point game or the Dolphins will win this game. So let's go with that. Moving on, Eagles, Redskins. They're in Washington. Eagles got to beat them by 6. The Eagles are one of those teams that same with the Cowboys, same with a couple of the Bears. They just need to win out to make the playoffs. It's just is what it is. And the Redskins are shitty. So, but they've been keeping it like they kept it close with the Packers last week, who didn't look very good. But I'm going to go with the Eagles. They're just too desperate. I think they have to figure out a way to win by a touchdown here. Seahawks, Panthers. Seahawks, Panthers. Give me a second here. All right, Seahawks, Panthers. Let's see. They are in Carolina. Seahawks are favored to win by 5.5, so they go in by 6. Carolina's been struggling. They're 5-8. They're out of the playoff picture. They fired their coach, all that jazz. And with that being said, Seattle's going to win. Wow, overwhelmingly, everybody on ESPN has picked Seattle to win by 6, which makes me worried, but I'm going to stick with that. Seattle's going to win that game. All right, we got a couple more here. Cleveland versus Arizona. They're in Arizona. Cleveland's favored by 2.5, so they got to win by 3. Browns are 6-7. Baker's playing against Arizona Cardinals. Hugh Jackson is one of the coaches. That's Baker's old coach, who Baker talks shit about and all that stuff. So he'll have a little chip on his shoulder. I think the Cleveland Browns will win this game. I think they're going to finish the season 9-7. So I'm going to go Cleveland on that. All right, Jacksonville versus Oakland. In Oakland, Oakland's got to win by 7. They got to win by a full touchdown. Jacksonville's been sucking it up, but they got Minshew, who's been playing. They got their ass whipped last week. I think 45-10 was it? Against the Chargers, yeah, just crazy. This one's a little tough for me. I think I'm gonna go Jacksonville. I think they're gonna keep it closer. And I could be completely wrong. Of course, I could be completely wrong. Who knows? But I'm gonna go with Jacksonville to at least keep it close with Oakland. Hopefully, All right, here we go. Vikings versus Chargers. This is huge for the Bears because we need the Vikings to lose, right? Vikings 9-4, Chargers 5-8. Not as important for the Chargers, but they are in Los Angeles. I heard some stat. I don't know if it was Kirk Cousins or if it was the Vikings in general. They're like non-divisional games on the road. Something about some stat that does not bode well for the Vikings to win. The Vikings are supposed to win by 3 here, 2.5. And you know what? Just out of my sheer Bears fandom and neediness, I'm going with the Chargers here. I'm going to go with the Chargers. They played well last week, won 45-10, like I mentioned. I'm going to go with them to come through with a home victory against the Vikings. Hopefully they shut down the Vikings like they did to the Packers out there. So I'm going to go Chargers. All right, Falcons, Niners. Another fatty spread. Niners got to win by 11. The spread's 10.5. They're in San Fran. The Niners looked great last week against the Saints. They look like the best team in the NFL. And this is the one fat spread that I will pick to stay with. I think they're going to stay that way. I think the Niners are going to come out and just whoop the Falcons' ass. So I'm going to go Niners on that. Rams, Cowboys. This is a 3:25 game on Sunday. This is huge also for the Bears. Obviously massive for the Cowboys. The Cowboys pretty much need to win out too. They play the Eagles next week. for the or is it next week or in 2 weeks? I don't remember, but either way, that week that game is pretty much going to decide the NFC East. And the Rams are trying to sneak into that wild card spot like the Bears are. The Rams are 8-5. That's why that loss to them was so huge. I need the Cowboys to win this game, and I think they will. Otherwise, I don't know. I mean, this is gonna go even more crazy in Dallas. Rams have been playing really well, or pretty well. I'm gonna go with Dallas though. I'm gonna go with Dallas out of my sheer need for it, and I'm just gonna do it. All right, here we go. Buffalo versus Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. This is the Sunday night game. This is a big game too because Buffalo's 9-4, Pittsburgh's 8-5. Pittsburgh's favored by 2.5. They got to win by 3 because it's basically an even because they're in Pittsburgh, so they're trying to get that. But here's the thing: Buffalo's been playing so well, and I just feel like they're always slept on. They're always undervalued, and I think they're going to come through and prove that Josh Allen is a real leader for them. So I'm going to go with the Bills. They're going to move to 10-4, and then that game against the Patriots is going to be a big game. Finally, Colts Saints on Monday night. Colts have had a disappointing year. Jacoby Brissett really got off to a good start and then got hurt and then just never really got back to where he was. So they're 6-7, and the Saints are 10-3. They lost a barn burner to the Niners last week, but that might have been the game of the year. What a game that was in the 40s, and the Niners won by a couple points there. That was very entertaining. I really liked that. So Saints got to beat the Colts by 9.5. They got to win by 10. And they will. They're trying to keep up. They're trying to make sure they get that second seed since they're not going to get that 1 seed most likely. But they want to leave themselves a possibility. So Saints got to win by 10. I got to pick the score, remember, for the tiebreaker. So I'm going to go Saints 31, Colts 14. No, Colts 13. 31-13, yeah. Saints 31, Colts 13. I'm going to submit my picks right now, guys. Bow. All right, and those picks are in. And that's our episode, guys. So thanks again for tuning in to another episode of The David Lopez Show. Ooh, just kicked the mic right there. I hope that didn't affect you guys. But seriously, I want to say thanks. Make sure you go to thedavidlopez.com or passionparkent.com to keep up with all my stuff. Pre-save my new single, Call Me, which comes out next week. And come see me live. I got some new show dates that I announced at the top of this show. January 3rd, January 4th. If you go to thedavidlopez.com, check out the show dates tab. You're going to find all that stuff. And then listen to my music. Make sure you guys have a good week. Be productive. Be happy. Spend some time with some people you love and care about. And just enjoy yourself. Stay warm if you're in the Midwest because it's cold out here. All right. One love, guys. I appreciate you. I'll be back next week with another episode. One love.